You're listening to The Drag.
"20 years after a bloody civil war that freed its slaves, the frontier city of Austin grew and quickly modernized in the heart of Texas. But unlike the relatively safe and hip tech center that it would later become, residents of Austin in 1885 faced violence every day.
It was still very much a town of crime and outlaw behavior. People were shot or stabbed in the middle of the street, and they didn't think that was unusual.
And yet, Austinites experienced a new form of evil that gripped the city by its neck for the entire year of 1885. A few years before Jack the Ripper went on his murder spree in London, or H.H. Holmes stalked visitors during Chicago's World's Fair, an axe murderer struck in the middle of the night, killing Austinites as they slept. The killer mostly attacked black women working as domestic servants to the city's rich white population.
A fearful midnight murder on West Pecan, mystery and crime, devilish deeds. More mischief by the night prowlers. The foul fiends keep up their bloody work.
The city's small police force didn't have the forensic tools to track down the killer. To make matters worse for the black community, the police assumed the killer must also be black, and they arrested scores of the city's black men on little to no evidence.
A bunch of black men are getting interrogated, they're getting arrested. It's mayhem.
I'm Megan Parker, the host of this podcast and a journalism student at the University of Texas at Austin. I've been studying these murders, and when learning about the victims, I couldn't help but feel a connection to them as a black woman who lives in Austin nearly 140 years later. These women often had nowhere to turn and no one to protect them, and a vicious murderer targeted them one by one. I'll trace the steps of one of America's first serial killers and explore the theories behind who might have done it in a new podcast called Devilish Deeds, a creation of The Drag, which produced the popular true crime podcasts The Orange Tree and Darkness, the Austin Bomber.
Imagine a Ted Bundy loose on the streets of Austin in 1885, a city that doesn't even have streetlights.
Subscribe to Devilish Deeds wherever you get your podcasts.
You love podcasts, the stories, the laughs, the unexpected turns. But when this episode ends, the silence starts. Not anymore. Audiobooks.com turns that silence into your next great adventure. With over 450,000 titles, from bestsellers to hidden gems, your love for listening just found its new best friend. And because you already know the joy of audio, we're giving you 3 free audiobooks to start your journey. Imagine your favorite podcast, now with unlimited episodes. That's audiobooks.com. Keep the story going. Sign up for your free trial at audiobooks.com/podcastfree today. Because for podcast lovers like you, the end of an episode is just the beginning. That's audiobooks.com/podcastfree.